All right. Slideshow. Sorry about that. Let me get to the beginning. That would be helpful. All right. So yes, as Jenna mentioned, my name is Katie. I work with the Get There program. It's the mobility management program of the Rural Health Network of South Central New York. I'm not sure. I know some people on the call have heard of heard of the Rural Health Network and Get There, but not sure if everyone has. So just really briefly, the Rural Health Network is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to advance the health and well-being of rural people and communities. And we offer a variety of programs, one of which is Get Their mobility management program. So I want to just kind of first start by saying thank you to Commerce Chenango. Thank you to Carrie and Catherine. This is my second year. This is my second year presenting, and I really appreciate the opportunity to get the word out about Get There, and hopefully some connections can be made, or at least just information shared that wasn't previously known after the presentation. So thank you. So I'm going to talk more about Get There towards the end of the presentation. I want to focus on employment for now. So before I move to my first slide, I am curious who is on the call. If people feel comfortable unmuting or just typing in the chat who you are and if you work for a business or organization and where that is. And if you're not comfortable, that's okay. I'm just curious. Oh.
I'm William Oglesby. I'm the Director of Workforce Development for Achieve in Broome, Tioga, and Chenango counties. So we do a lot of different things, but that's mainly, we've been doing a lot in Chenango County, but we do a ton in Broome and Tioga as well.
Okay, thank you. It's helpful for me to know who's on because then I can kind of tailor the presentation. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I'm going to get started.
We actually do have two in the chat, Katie.
Oh, we do. Oh, okay.
They sent them directly to me. We have Preston Evans, who is the VP Development for Achieve, and we also have Kurt, and I'm sorry, Kurt, I'm probably not going to pronounce your name right, Apperthorpe. He is New York State Veterans Home at Oxford.
Okay.
I think I just opened the chat up to be public.
Okay.
Right now, I didn't see it, but I just opened it up, so hopefully we'll start seeing everybody's.
Okay, thank you.
I
So
you did a good job with my name. Thank you.
So I think the first half of the presentation might be most pertinent for folks that are on the call. So I do just want to say, I mean, we all know that transportation is a barrier to employment. We also know, I think just anecdotally and just through news articles, and there's plenty of hard data to show that it's really hard to hire individuals right now. Businesses are really having trouble attracting and retaining employees. I was just at a job fair yesterday in Delaware County, and a lot of the folks from businesses that were at from the booths that rented booths, just story after story, people talked about how hard it is to attract folks to their jobs. So, oh, and I see a question. Do you cover the Oxford? Yes, we do. And I'll talk about what our coverage area is in a second. So why not use transportation to attract employees? We know that it's a problem. We know that it's a barrier. And we also know that businesses are having trouble finding folks to fill positions. So to me, it seems like it's a natural fit. So Kurt, to answer your question and to kind of take a step back. So Get There program covers Broome, Chenango, Tioga, Otsego, and Delaware counties. So Oxford is covered. So we have a main program. One of our main programs in Get There is the Transportation to Employment program. And the program's purpose is to help people maintain a long-term job through transportation assistance. Okay, so the way the program works is we receive referrals from county social services, workforce development organizations, human service agencies, businesses, and staffing agencies. We also receive self-referrals from a number of individuals. So we do like to work with a partner, someone that is more intimately involved in an individual. For instance, if someone is a job coach, they will really know that individual and have an idea of just kind of what they're facing, if there's other barriers that they're facing. It's always good to have kind of a village working together to support someone as opposed to just one program. And that's really the approach that we want to take. However, like I said, we do accept self-referrals, and we do oftentimes will, if we do receive a self-referral and someone is facing a barrier beyond transportation to employment, such as say childcare or housing even, we can refer out to other organizations. So we want to make sure that people are supported. So after we receive that referral, we would either contact our referral partner. I am going to put the referral link in the chat box, but I'm going to do that towards the end of the conversation, just so as not to break things up too much. So we would receive the referral. We would then reach out to the referral partner, get some information on the individual, find out, are they working? Are they applying to a job? Where is the job? What are the hours, wages? Are they facing other barriers? That sort of thing. We want to just kind of get a feel for what is the situation. So we would then look at what are the transportation options. So this is the transportation case management piece. So we'd look at, are they on a bus line? Do they have a vehicle? Do they have a friend or family that they could ride with? Do they know anyone that works at their employer or their prospective employer's location? And we want to try to look at all of the available transportation options. While we do own vehicles, we don't, they're not necessarily used. We're not a taxi service that goes out and bring people from business to business. So we want to look at what is available in the community. So we will have that discussion with, say, the job coach, the caseworker, and then also with the individual. And oftentimes, there will be a group call between everyone because we want everyone to have the same information. So, and also just to be fully transparent, so my coworker Stan Varghese is actually the individual that works with folks being referred to the program and job coaches, and he's done a wonderful job. He's been with us for over 6 months now. So he will have those discussions, kind of evaluate the situation, and will determine, along with the caseworker, job coach that's referred, and the individual, what is the best transportation option for someone. So a real kind of easy one is if someone is on the bus line, does not have a vehicle, is able to take Chenango First Transit, we can provide a bus pass for them for that short-term assistance. If someone has a vehicle, we could provide a fuel card to help cover the cost of gas. Gas is extremely expensive right now, so it's really difficult for people that even do have vehicles just to get to and from work. If those are not options, we start looking at, can we get them to work initially either in a cab, or we do have a network of volunteer drivers. I'm going to talk more about that because we are always recruiting for volunteer drivers. So we'll look at those as an option to get someone to work initially if this is a new job, so that they can network and connect with someone and try to find a carpool ride. And then we would provide a fuel card so that the individual, our participant, could hand that fuel card to the driver to help cover the cost of gas to get them back and forth. We also initially will ask someone, do you have a friend or family member that could drive you to and from work? And the other thing is there can be a mix of options. So maybe someone can take the bus to a job, but doesn't have a way home. So we'd look at maybe carpooling there, or taking a bus to a location and then having a cab pick them up at the bus stop, a first mile, last mile sort of situation, where they would then get a ride home from the cab. So we try to be as creative as possible in our solutions. There's also been instances where we've had a discussion with, say, a job coach or even ourselves. There was an instance where I reached out to the HR director at Mirabito and asked if hours could be shifted for an individual so that it made more sense for someone that they lived with to get them to and from work, and that was able to happen. So we really try to look at all of the options. The big thing with our program is that someone needs to be able to pay for their transportation long-term. Just with anything in any program, we want to help as many people as possible, but we're not the right program for everyone. So for instance, if someone, and this was an actual case in Chenango County, we had an individual that he was a janitor at a school at night and worked with one other individual. That individual lived on a completely opposite direction from this person getting to and from work. He's talked to he talked to neighbors, he talked to friends, he talked to family members to see if anyone could bring him, and they couldn't. And we had to have a discussion about that. And fortunately, this person was able to find another job that was during the day that they were able to ride to and from. This person lived outside of Norwich and had a neighbor that drove in and out of Norwich for a job. So sometimes a job might not be the right fit. Transportation is a barrier, and we do try to be as creative as possible, but there are times when the cost is just too great. So the last piece of the program is our continued case management. So we continue to have conversations with individuals. So like I said, we do offer short-term transportation assistance. Generally, on average, it's about 2.5 months, sometimes less, sometimes more. If it is more than that, those are kind of special circumstances, because after 90 days, we would consider someone successfully employed with a long-term job. I do also want to say that, I mentioned people at the beginning of employment. We also work with people that have had a job for years. There was a woman that went through a divorce and her financial situation completely changed and reached out to us. And we did provide assistance with her to kind of get her over that financial hump so she could save money to pay for those future transportation costs. Okay. So just to kind of really illustrate this long-term transportation plan. So these are just some examples of what we do. So our assistance might be private cabs, like I mentioned earlier, and then a fuel card to give to a carpool partner. And the long-term strategy would be the coworker carpool. And then, as you can see, public transit could be public transit, and then a fuel card for a personal vehicle could be then that person is paying for gas in their own vehicle. So you can see on the screen, it says private transit with a little slash. So the reason is that is really not a long-term option for most individuals. And I do want to say everyone is an expert on their own lives, and there are always caveats. And this is why it's really helpful to be working with a job coach or someone that knows someone better than we do with our program. But just to give you an idea, right now, taxi with A&D, which is a big provider in Chenango County, it's $2.25 a mile. And that's not counting deadhead miles. So to give an example, from Norwich to Greene, say someone works at Raymond, it's about 22 miles round trip. That's $50 a day, $250 a week, $1,000 a month. That's a lot of money in transportation expenses. So we do not want to set someone up for failure. We don't want to be providing short-term transportation assistance. And when that assistance ends, they're not able to pay for that transportation and lose the job. That's the last thing that we want to happen. Excuse me. Okay. So this might not be as applicable to folks on the phone, because it sounds like we have a lot of individuals from human service agencies, but just another option that we have, this is a recent program that falls under the umbrella of transportation to employment. We have a commuter program. So we actually work with the Volunteer Transportation Center. They're located out of Watertown, New York. We actually already utilize them to train and dispatch our volunteer drivers throughout our 5-county region. So what this program would do, it would leverage current informal carpool networks that many businesses already have, and it would incentivize new carpools. And the way it would do this is by allowing those carpool drivers to earn non-taxable mileage reimbursement at the current IRS rate of 58.5 cents per mile while transporting coworkers that don't have a vehicle or are unable to get to and from work with them. So it would, one, benefit the driver because they would be earning non-taxable income. And this is outside of work hours when they're driving to and from work anyways. And then it would also help those individual employees that don't have a way to get to and from work. So, that's not only helping the driver, the individual, but it also helps the business. And I think it's a great way to attract and to retain employees. So just quickly, the way that it would work, and this is a new program, like I said, we have had discussions with a few businesses in Chenango County specifically, and some of the other counties that we work with about this program. Oh, I see something in a chat. Okay, I will answer that question in a second. Oops. So what we would do is we would first start with a pilot to gauge interest and build this program. So at Chobani, for instance, what we did was we ran a carpool promotion. So we wanted to see what carpools were already out there. So if people signed up for the carpool promotion, we could get an idea of who's driving with who already. And they were able to win a $200 gas card, which is pretty nice considering the cost of gas right now. So next, we would identify primary, secondary, and tertiary drivers from specific geographic corridors. And then we would assign drivers with riders. So the reason we would be assigning it is we want to make sure that we don't want someone from, say, Greene going to Oxford to get someone to Norwich. So we want people that are living relatively close to each other to be able to drive to and from work together. The drivers use their personal vehicles. They would create their own schedule, specific days and times that they're available to drive, and then they're reimbursed at the standard mileage reimbursement. So VTC does carry umbrella insurance. Insurance is often a question that we're asked about, and waives claims against employer partners for losses and damages. So that's that program. I do want to, how do I get to the chat? Okay, so I wanted to answer Kurt's question in the chat. How many riders are needed to qualify for the carpool reimbursement? Just one driver, or one driver and one rider. So it doesn't, we don't have a requirement as far as there needs to be 2 or 3 people in a vehicle. It can just be one. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to share some information about our other programs at Get There. So Get There, just to give a little background, we've been around for over 10 years, serving Broome, Chenango, Delaware, Otsego, and Tioga counties again. We have a number of programs that can hopefully benefit your clients. So a big program that many people might be aware of is Connection to Care. And that helps people without Medicaid travel to health-related services. And we do offer prescription pickup and delivery. We have MAS navigation. So MAS, for anyone that doesn't know, is Medicaid's non-emergency transportation provider. And they set Medicaid rides up. The program can be tricky to navigate. A lot of times, MAS wants people to use their online portal, and that can be tricky for many individuals. So folks that work with me in our Get There call center can help answer those questions and even provide a greater level of assistance for folks. This has waned significantly. But the COVID-19 test and vaccine, we did a ton of transportation, especially last year, to get folks to testing sites and also vaccine sites. I mentioned the volunteer driver program. We are always looking for volunteer drivers to bring people to medical appointments and also to a job. You know, one thing that we've heard time and time again is that people feel way more comfortable riding with a volunteer driver as opposed with riding with a private taxi. We've also just heard a lot of really nice stories from volunteer drivers. You know, they've gotten to know their riders and share stories, and it's just really rewarding. And all volunteer drivers are reimbursed at the IRS standard rate. Another thing that might actually be really helpful for folks that are on the call is our How Do I Get There travel training program. So it helps individuals navigate rural and urban transportation resources safely and independently. So that could include, the bus, it can include Uber and Lyft, it can include a taxi, crossing the street, carpooling. It's a really comprehensive program, and we offer small group trainings and individual one-on-one trainings. And then, of course, the transportation to employment program that was discussed during the presentation. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation. My contact information is up on the screen. I'd like to answer any questions that people might have. And I'm going to put a link to our Get There referral form, transportation to employment referral form in the chat for anyone that would like it. The other thing is, if anyone wants to put in their contact information, I am happy to send you an email with more information about our program. I can send flyers. We actually just got really nice boxes that we can send our flyers and the information out in. So I would be happy to send that out, or even visit your site, and we can kind of chat more about how we can partner. So sorry. I'm not very good at multitasking. I'm reading some emails in the chat, and then I need to get the referral form in here. So let me do that. But please, if anyone has any questions, I am happy to answer any of them.
Hi,
Okay.
Katie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Katie, how long has this program been in place?
So transportation to employment in Chenango County has been in place since January 2020.
Okay, great. That sounds like a great program. I look forward to getting more information from you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your questions too.
And if you're an organization that's interested in becoming more involved in transportation, my office holds a quarterly transportation meeting for Chenango County. So what I'll do is it's actually Matt Gladstone in my office. I'll put his email in the chat as well. And if you want to get a hold of him, we can invite you to those meetings as well.
Great. I'm curious if anybody can answer this question is, we have a significant need for employees. And I'd love to employ Chenango County workers. That'd be our priority. But where they're not available, I'm always also interested in surrounding counties. So I'm looking for opportunities where we can set up a carpooling, not only in Chenango County, but also outside of the area to draw people in. And hopefully they fall in love with their job in the area and then become permanent residents. But thinking of things like the Broome County area, Binghamton, where there's larger population centers we could get people the rides they need, because that's the thing I'm hearing a lot of. It's too expensive, obviously with gas prices, but the distance traveled, and it's to us, it's also trying to get their cycle of a paycheck in, so then they could afford to pay for their own transportation. And in the state, it's a good probably 12 weeks before you actually get your official full paycheck, because we do a delay, and we do take a day out every paycheck, which you get paid on the other end. So trying to help people to get them set up is a big hurdle for us.
Yeah, I mean, I can say, I don't know if something like this would, we can definitely do transportation between counties, as long as someone has an address that is in one of those 5 counties.
Right.
But yeah, we can definitely set that up. If there was something where, say, there was a carpool coming from Broome County, and I know you said traveling distances, if there were, say, I don't know, 3 people and they wanted to rotate who's driving, so one person's not driving every single day, we can do that too. We can look into those options. So
Great. Great.
And yeah, like gas is so expensive, so that could be a way to share the cost, share the driving. But I'm open to having, any way that we can support you, as with you having clients at Achieve, but also employees getting employees to and from work. We're happy to have that discussion.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Katie, are you actively taking applications for volunteer taxi services? Because I know here at Chenango Commerce, we have a taxi service who's looking to get their name out there. He's done work with volunteer. He drops off food at elderly homes where they can't get out, groceries, that sort of thing. So what is the application process to, get him started, maybe helping out?
I'm going to put that in the chat. That's a really good question. Full disclosure, one thing that I'm really working on right now, and I just had a call this morning with the Volunteer Transportation Center, is really getting a feel for and tightening up what that process looks like. But right now, what they would do is, I'm gonna find the application and I will put it in the chat.
Perfect.
but they would fill that out and, oh, again, trying to multitask. They would fill out an application.
I've got it, Katie, if you
and
want to put it in there.
oh, you did. Oh, okay. Thanks, Shane. Awesome. Thank you so much. So they would fill that out and then they would get contacted by John, who works
Okay.
at VTC. And John would work with them to set up an orientation, and it's all remote, the orientation. There is a background. So the application, it's an online application, but I am happy to mail an application to someone. We just had someone in Broome County. So our office is located in Binghamton. However, I mean, if someone wanted to mail documents to VTC, that would be totally fine. But I had an individual come in, made a copy of his license, his insurance information. There is a background check. And as soon as all of that clears, then John would go through the orientation with the individual, get them set up, and then they could start driving. But it's a really nice way to earn extra income too, while doing something good for the community. And you can just do it you choose where your kind of location is. If you're in Green, I know I keep saying Green, it's just on my mind. If your location is Green and you don't really want to travel too far outside of Green, then that's fine. But if you want to expand that kind of radius that you drive, you can do that. So we really want to accommodate the volunteer driver. But I mean, like I said, I was on the phone with Jennifer at VTC today, and she was just saying, one week someone might earn $100, another week they could earn $500. So it's a nice way to help out and earn some money. It is using your own vehicle though. So we just want to be clear about that.
Yeah. Okay. He does have a few vehicles on hand. He's just looking, like I said, to broaden his scope and make a little bit of extra money. Like you said, that in any way that helps, especially with gas prices. So. Yeah.
So the one thing I will say is that, can't really double dip. So if he's charging, he can't charge individuals and be a volunteer driver. So the folks, I mean, they're not even supposed to accept donations from people, just because this does fall under kind of IRS volunteer rules. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, he with his like grocery delivery, he just does it like without any payment or anything like that.
He should totally sign up. I mean, he would be perfect. He should totally sign up for that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I will let him know, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions at all? Well, I just want to say again, I mean, Jenna, Catherine, and Carrie, I'm sorry I missed you at the beginning of the present saying thank you, Jenna, but I really do appreciate the opportunity to have a forum like this and just get the word out about our program. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. If there's no other questions, Katie's information is in the chat. Reach out upon whatever you have any questions about, and I guess we'll end this one a little bit early.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Katie.